Multiple Russian drones crossed into Poland airspace. Now, the big question is, did the Russians do this on purpose or it was a mistake? According to NATO, they don't see this as an attack. But according to the Ukrainians, they are calling for Article 5. Anybody who is familiar with this war, you wouldn't be surprised. I hope you guys remember back in 2023 when Ukraine S-300 air defense system was shot into Poland mainland. Zelensky took advantage of this and he was calling for NATO involvement, but NATO rejected. If you're enjoying this video, hit on the like button, and if you are new to the channel, subscribe. I hope you guys remember the video I created 3 days ago. I told you guys that you guys should expect more drone attacks on Ukraine because the Russians has produced a lot of drones. In fact, the Russians can choose to fire 1,000 drones every 3 or 4 days for the whole year. They have the Gerald 2 and they have the Gerald 3, and all these drones are deadly. By the way, let's get into the details of this attack. Overnight, multiple Russian military drones crossed into Polish airspace during a large-scale strike on Ukraine. Polish and NATO jet scrambled immediately, shooting down several drones. Airport in eastern Poland briefly shut down as debris was found on the ground. One drone even hit a residential house, but no casualties were reported. Yes, and according to reports, most of these drones that the Russians shot into Poland, there were no explosives in them. So the question is, what exactly were the Russians targeting? Because if the Russians were targeting Ukrainian weapons or Ukrainian troops, obviously there would be bombs attached to the drones. But in this case, there was no bombs attached to the drones. So another question is the Russians trying to test NATO capabilities or what? We still have to wait for the official response from the Russians. The Russians are not talking much about this particular attack. According to some experts, they believe that the Ukrainians deliberately created this whole attack just to bring in NATO, right? They want NATO to come in and rescue them. So they are trying to attack a NATO country and put the blame on the Russians in order for NATO to come in and invoke Article 5. Attack on one is attack on all. Poland Prime Minister called it the closest we have been to open conflict and invoked NATO Article 4 for urgent consultation. Russia denies intentionally targeting Poland, but Ukraine says the incursion was no accident. Of course, Zelensky will not let this opportunity slip away. He's going to take advantage of it, just like what we saw in 2023, right? So he's going to push NATO. He's going to tell NATO that we told you that Putin is going to attack other countries when he's done with Ukraine. You know that narrative, right? And you see, according to the article, they said Poland invoked Article 4. Article 4 is all about consultation. These NATO countries member come together and discuss their next step to take, right? Others were calling for Article 5. Article 5 is basically going to the front lines to fight directly, meaning an attack on one is an attack on all. But in this case, NATO is saying that they don't see this as an attack. So meaning we should just forget about this whole Article 5 thing, right? That is not going to work. NATO is not prepared to fight the Russians currently. They are not willing to do so. So the fact that NATO had to shoot down these drones with a fighter jet explain how NATO is currently lacking behind when it comes to the drone warfare or electronic warfare. So between Russia and Ukraine, they've been shooting down these drones without flying fighter jets. So for example, just imagine if NATO is at war and their enemy fire around 1,000 drones, are they going to shoot down all these drones with fighter jets? Economically, it doesn't make sense. Militarily, it doesn't make sense. So if Russia was trying to attack Poland, why would they attack Poland with drones without explosives? What sense does it make exactly? What do you think? Do you think this attack was by the Russians, or do you think this was created by the Ukrainians? Let me know down in the comment section. Thank you very much for your endless support, guys. Don't forget to hit on the like button and subscribe to the channel. Shalom. See you guys in the next episode.